Watch the narcissist in action. The voicemail Hoovers. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You've sensibly been enhancing your education about narcissism by embracing the series of videos Watch the Narcissist in Action. The relevant victim in those circumstances, Rose, had made available various recordings of her interactions with the narcissist, which has provided me with primary material to analyse. The narcissist is likely to be lower mid-range. This means that he's an amalgam of lesser and mid-range. He has an intermittent facade, so to the outside world, he will show that facade, but it doesn't always hold in place particularly effectively, but he attempts to do so. He, through his delusion and the distortion field of his narcissism, ostensibly regards himself as a decent man that loves his children, that wants to do the right thing, but people give him a hard time unnecessarily. He also regards himself as hard but fair, someone who is not to be messed with. He has repeatedly been abusing his intimate partner primary source, Rose. You have witnessed a variety of these different manipulations, ranging from circular conversations, insult, triangulation with object, triangulation with children, triangulation with other people, use of threat, the application of heated ignited fury through verbal violence, argumentativeness, physical violence, and destruction of property, amongst other manipulations. Much of the time, Rose has been calm when she has been responding to what he's been doing. He's aware that he's been recorded on numerous instances, but simply doesn't care. In some instances, of course, he's actually made reference to the fact that he's being recorded, and he just pushes it to one side. The calmness that has been exhibited caused some of you to think, yeah, she doesn't love him anymore, and you may well be right about that. What you followed was an argument that took place in the car as he issued a tirade against her. 2 arguments that took place in the bedroom. A series of Hoovers that were done through text messages, and the aftermath of physical attacks and the destruction of property. This has caused many of you in the live chat and comments to declare, why is she staying? Why isn't she getting out? Well, of course, she has young children with this individual. She also, initially, will undoubtedly have been affected by her emotional thinking, which has caused her to believe that they can work through it, that somehow this is her fault, and that if she just tries a bit harder, he'll start to see sense. Maybe she's thought that if he gets a job, things will settle down, and that he's unnecessarily jealous. As time has gone on, however, she has evidently begun to realise that she is being abused. And the reason for this is that Rose actually, through some of these videos, had been planning her escape for some time. And in the circumstances, that is why she presents as being calm. She has to manage him and largely understands that she tries not to provoke him because she's trying to put in place her plans to escape him. One of the main reasons why she couldn't simply hand her notice in 2 weeks, aside from the fact that she simply didn't want to give up her job, was that she could not give up her job. Her job was her escape route. The company that she worked for didn't know about her abusive home situation until later on, when Rose actually told them about it, and therefore, believing what she was experiencing, they finalised and sped up her job transfer, which provided her with job security and financial security to enable her to move forward. Eventually, as a consequence of being able to shift job and know that she had a job to go to and that she had money coming in, and that she made arrangements to go and stay elsewhere, she escaped Mike. She escaped by packing up the house, and she left with her new housemate. This was just a friend somebody that she could rely upon for support. It wasn't a new intimate relationship. Rose had been planning for this to happen for some time, but wasn't able to put everything into place and therefore had to continue to navigate the unpleasant behaviours of Mike, even though she knew that she was looking at getting out. Fortunately for her, her emotional thinking was not strong enough to cause her to back down from that. It might be that she perhaps delayed unnecessarily as a consequence of emotional thinking, but it wasn't enough to cause her to give up on doing that. And, after a period of time, she proceeded to escape. For some, remaining with the narcissist means that the strength of your emotional thinking causes you not to go. Things seem to be all right, so why not just carry on? For some, the fear of what might happen if you leave keeps them in place and in situ. With Rose, although it perhaps might have lengthened her stay, ultimately she did depart. What she didn't do on her escape was immediately block Mike or change her telephone number, which shows that her no-contact regime wasn't perfect. I also suspect that she will have probably kept an eye on what he might have been doing, and also will have spoken about him and thought about him. Accordingly, she removed herself and, importantly, the children from being physically proximate to him, which would reduce a lot of the abuse because he could no longer shout at them, destroy property in front of the children, etc., physically assault her. But she hadn't implemented anywhere near a perfect no-contact regime because she was allowing communications to still come through. What you're going to hear now are a succession of Hoovers over a number of days that are being provided by Mike as he seeks to draw Rose back into the relationship. Her leaving will have caused massive wounding for him. She is the intimate partner primary source, was the main provider of fuel, character traits and residual benefits, and his narcissism deemed that she was the easiest to control. As time went on, she became more difficult to control, but he still achieved that. When she left, a massive hole was punched in his fuel matrix, and this will have made him feel vulnerable and weak. The fuel provision for him will have dropped also. It wouldn't necessarily have put him into a fuel crisis immediately, but it would have caused him to have to utilize alternative fuel supplies to receive that fuel from alternative outlets, alternative appliances. If you'd like to understand more about that, I direct you to read No Contact, Fuel, and, particularly, Understanding Changes to the Narcissist Fuel Matrix, so you can understand what those changes can be and how the narcissist reacts and responds to them. Given the fact that he did not have a suitably cultivated intimate partner to promote to IPPS with Rose having gone, his narcissism directed him to try and get her back. And thus, motivated by his narcissism, his subconscious narcissism, he then sought to hoover her. He evidently didn't know where she'd gone to, therefore he wasn't physically able to hoover her. Instead, he telephones, seeking to bring her back into the relationship. The fact is, the messages were sent, the voicemail messages were sent over a few days. And I'm going to take you through each one so that you can hear the nature of a Hoover attempting to bring an intimate partner primary source back into the relationship, and the change in the nature of these Hoovers as the days went by. Here comes the first one.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on, so you just ignored me for 2 days. You haven't answered any of my calls. You're deliberately avoiding them and blocking my number. You only sent me like a couple texts. You don't really say anything in your texts either. So, I mean, I guess I'm going to take it as you're breaking up with me and kicking me out. That's why you're not contacting me at all. Because you want nothing to do with me. And then you want me to send you all these aggressive fighting texts because you know that this will piss me off. You know that. That's why you're doing it. Because you're getting you're way out of it. You're triggering me. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to hear from you. I don't know. I mean, you're already gone for work, so you must be on the phone. You're obviously not calling your mom because you just were with her all day. It doesn't make sense for you to leave her and then call her. So it must mean that you're talking to Anthony or some other guy. And the more your dad and mom come and visit, they just flood your brain with these fucking bullshit allegories about me. That's why your mom was trying to hand me all my clothes to kick me out. So you just been lying to me this entire time. This entire time you just been lying to me until you can get set up with this angel girl. And then once you got her, then you don't need me. I told you don't have fucking niggers, Mexicans, or fucking other people watching my kids. What do? You fucking go get fucking black fucking niggers to watch my kids. So it's just the same thing over and over. You just are deliberately doing exactly the opposite of what I asked for. And for peace. So you deliberately want to choose the opposing of that. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm going to keep trying to get a hold of you so I can get face-to-face with you, figure it out for sure. But until then, I'm just going to take it as you don't want to be with me anymore because I'm not trying to think about it. Boyfriend and girlfriend. Boyfriend tries to call his girlfriend. Girlfriend ignores everything for like 2 days. I don't know. That pretty much means you're trying to send me a hint, right? That's what it means. So, just gotta clarify that hint. I'm fucking super pissed that you would do this to me again after you already agreed that you would never do this. But, I mean, everything you fucking say is bullshit and lies, so I know you expect me to be honest or whatever. Took my kids, replaced you with this fucking fat bitch.
Okay, let's break down the first voicemail, Hoover, that Mike issues. Remember? He has lost the intimate partner primary source and has been massively wounded. His narcissism is ringing the alarm bells, basically saying, get her back. Therefore, he's motivated to call her. He does so. She doesn't answer, which causes him further wounding. Not as extensive as the fact that she's left him, but wounding nevertheless. He states, yeah, so I've no idea what's going on. You just ignored me for 2 days. You haven't answered any of my calls. You're deliberately avoiding them and blocking my number. Do you want to send me like a couple of texts? Notice the expectancy and the sense of entitlement, how he doesn't accept that it's over, that you need to text me. But you don't really say anything in your text either. So, I mean, I guess I'm going to take it that you're breaking up with me and kicking me out. Although that is what's happened, you can tell by his tone that he doesn't truly accept it. Naturally, he's wounded by the fact that she's gone, but even so, he remains deluded to the extent of, you don't do that to me, and therefore it's almost like he's thinking to himself, nah, it's not really that, is it? But I guess that's what you're trying to achieve. He continues by stating, that's why you're not contacting me at all, because you want nothing to do with me. And then you want me to send you all these aggressive fighting texts because you know that this will piss me off. Notice there's nothing in the lines of, why have you gone? Have I upset you? What can I do to make this right? But it's immediately, I'm the victim. Well, I know I'm cleverer than you, Rose, because I know what your game is. You're now wanting to get me to send you all of these aggressive texts because you want to annoy me, you want to piss me off. He can't register that he's done anything wrong and that's why she's gone. He simply sees it as she is the perpetrator and is wanting to continue to cause a problem for him. You know that. That's why you're doing it, because you're getting your way out of it. You're triggering me, i.e., I'm the victim, you're the perpetrator. So, I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to hear from you. I don't know. See, You're already gone for work, so you must be on the phone. You're obviously not calling your mum because you were just with her all day. It doesn't make sense for you to leave her and then call her, so it must mean that you're talking to Anthony or some other guy. Mike's trying to play detective. He believes that the reason that he's not got through is that she's on the phone talking to somebody. I think it's more likely that her phone is actually switched off. Or it could be that he's blocked and his call just goes straight to voicemail and then she's listened to it thereafter. It's not clear. But as far as I can understand, she was not on the phone when these calls came in. His paranoia leads him to believe, yeah, okay, you're on the phone, but you're not talking to your mum, are you? You're talking to some men. That's what it is. So there is an attempt to triangulate her there to make her feel guilty and to also exhibit that I've got you worked out. The more your dad and mum come and visit, they just flood your brain with these fucking bullshit allegories about me. I think he means allegations. Triangulation, and of course what he's stating is, I haven't done anything wrong, your mum and dad are painted black, they're the ones that are brainwashing you against me. That's why your mum was trying to hand me all my clothes to kick me out. So you've just been lying to me this entire time. Predictably enough, there's no acceptance by him that he's done anything that would merit her leaving him. She's been lying. This entire time you've been lying to me, until you could get set up with this angel girl. Clearly he knows who the roommate is, and then once you got her, then you don't need me. Notice that he can't realise that the reason that she's gone is because of his abuse. It's simply, oh, you don't need me anymore. I told you, don't have fucking niggers, Mexicans, or fucking other people watching my kids. Triangulation with children, smearing. What do? You fucking go and get black fucking niggers to watch my kids. Racial smearing. It's just the same thing over and over. You're just like deliberately doing exactly the opposite of what I ask for. Then for peace, so you won't choose the opposing of that. Word salad, again, fake allegations, provocation. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to keep trying to get a hold of you, so I can get face to face with you and figure it out for sure. Demonstrating that he's not going to give up. Notwithstanding this wounding, his narcissism is still saying, you need to get her back under control, because basically he's got no other options vis-a-vis intimate partner primary source at this juncture. But until then, I'm just going to take it as you don't want to be with me anymore, because I'm trying to think about it. Boyfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend tries to call his girlfriend, girlfriend ignores everything for like 2 days. I don't know, that pretty much means you're trying to send me a hint, right? Oh, gosh, brains trust in action here. That's what it means. So I'm just trying to clarify that hint. It's not a hint, Mike. I'm fucking super pissed that you would do this to me again after we already agreed that you would never do this. But I mean, anything you fucking say is bullshit and lies. So, I know you expect me to be honest or whatever. You took my kids, replaced me with this fucking fat bitch. Referring probably to the new housemate, triangulation, and insult. Mike's tone throughout all of this is defiance. He can't accept that someone would leave him. That's why he's saying, well, I suppose you're kind of leaving me. That's the hint you're giving me here. But his narcissism almost won't process it. What? Someone like you would leave someone like me? Nah, that would never happen, surely. He's defiant, and he's saying, I'm going to work it out, and I'm going to keep trying until we actually speak, so you're not getting away from me. Whilst he's been wounded, his narcissism, in the absence of any other alternatives, is still causing him to try and assert control over her and get her back through talking to her, and he maintains a tone of defiance at this juncture. Now let's move on to the next voicemail message.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? I don't know why you're toying with me. I don't know why you and your mom are fucking with me again. I don't know what you're talking about all of a sudden. You said you did something that I'm going to break up with you that I'll never forgive. What? You gonna leave? You gonna Move with your fucking broken old mom? Have her raise my kids? Or what? What else could it be, huh? What else could you do to the house besides pack your shit up and leave and sell it? That's the only thing. You let this little snake slip into our lives, slip into your house, and then ruin everything? We're supposed to be together. All this, I love you and I can't wait to see you again shit, and then you just shit all over me? You people say I'm the bipolar one too. That's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how I remain the same emotion. I didn't do nothing wrong. I've been sitting here waiting. Well, you guys just go and dick around, change stuff, do the opposite, plan. You told me you were going to come see me. You told me that we were going to figure something out for tomorrow. You had me waiting. And you just blew me off like I was just nothing, like it didn't even matter. You expect me to what? Be okay with that shit? It's kind of funny.
There's the second voicemail, Hoover. Now, it's not entirely clear, but it seems that there might have been some communication between Mike and Rose in between these messages. I'll touch on that again shortly. It might be that she's messaged him, or she's spoken to him, or left him a message, given what he alludes to. You'll notice the difference in tone. At first, you might think that he sounds upset, but you'll notice, compared to later voicemail, that that's not the case. What you're actually hearing is him on the cusp of his absolute fury at what she's done to him. The wounding occurred when she left. He has been trying to get hold of her and therefore will have suffered repeated woundings. Her parents will, of course, fobbed him off, rejected him, which will have challenged him, although they will have provided him with some fuel. But at this juncture, which is a day after the first voicemail, his fuel levels have been dropping substantially because he has no intimate partner primary source. Given that he's a lower mid-ranger, he won't have that particularly proficient a fuel matrix. And whilst he'll be able to obtain some fuel from her parents, for example, maybe some friends of his, maybe his family, we don't know the extent to which he is interacting with all of those individuals. Therefore, one would have to assume that it would be some form of interaction, and undoubtedly he will have been complaining about Rose's behaviour to them by way of smearing her and pity play. Thus they will have responded, providing him with fuel. Nevertheless, his fuel level, whilst not at crisis point, will be much lower than it ordinarily would be. This provides him still with sufficient fuel to power his fury. The narcissism is allowing that fuel to be utilised towards his fury to power him to try and get Rose to come back. However, it's almost at the point of shit or bust, in that the fuel that's being burned by his fury is causing the fuel level to plummet. And the expectation is You've got to get her back shortly to replenish the fuel levels and to end this threat to control. He asks, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me? Victim mentality. I don't know why you're toying with me. You're the perpetrator, I'm the victim. I don't know why your mum, are fucking with me again. I'm the victim. I don't know what you're talking about all of a sudden. You said you did something, that I'm going to break up with you, that I'll never forgive. Confusion. What? You're going to leave? You're going to move with your fucking broken old mum? Triangulation, smearing, have her raise my kids, or what? What else could it be? Huh? What else could you do to the house besides pack your shit up and leave and sell it? He becomes noticeably angrier at this juncture. That's the only thing. You let this little snake slip into our lives, slip into your house and then ruin everything. One would assume that he's making reference to the new housemate, triangulation, blame shifting. Notice, it's never his fault. He's not done anything wrong. It's clearly the fault of this other person. We're supposed to be together. Ownership. All this, I love you and I can't wait to see you again shit, and then you just shit all over me. You're the perpetrator, I'm the victim. You keep saying how I'm the bipolar one too. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how I remain the same. Notice he's completely blinded to his behaviour. I didn't do nothing wrong. Completely oblivious to his conduct, because where he does lash out, it's as a consequence of what she has done to him. She is the perpetrator, he is the victim. I've been sitting here waiting while you guys just go and dick around, change stuff, do the opposite plan. In a sense, he's saying there, you're making a fool of me. I'm just sat waiting, and you're actually up to your scheming. You told me you were going to come see me. This is where it appears to give me the impression that there must have been some kind of communication between the first and second voicemails. You told me that we were going to figure something out for tomorrow. You had me waiting. Then you just blew me off like I was just nothing, like I didn't even matter. Now, it's possible that this is a revision of history and no conversation actually took place, or that it did, and she was just trying to stall him for some reason. She didn't need to. She'd already moved. Therefore, she could have just changed her number so that she wouldn't have to have received these messages. You just expect me to watch your kids with that shit. It's kind of funny. Although he's not shouting, you can hear the fury in his voice. He's trying to keep a lid on it, contain the fury that wants to burst forth, to put her in her place, to admonish her, to destroy her perhaps. He hoovers again through this voicemail message. Barely contained fury, audible, but of course it's having no effect because he's getting nothing back. Now let's move on to the third message.
You bring my baby back. You bring her back. You can't do this to me. You bring my little girls back, Rose. You bring them back. All right? You come back. I didn't do anything. I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. You bring my little girls back. You bring them back. I'll come find you. You bring them back. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. This? Adult! You need to let me say goodbye to my kids! What is it? You bring them back. Those are my little girls. You bring them back? You can't just take them from me! You bring my little girls back, you hear me? You bring them back. I didn't do anything. My baby girl. My baby girl. Rose, you can't do this to me. I didn't do anything with anybody. You bring these little girls, you hear me?
a marked change from the earlier messages, and you'll see the difference now when he is upset. At this point, his fuel levels have dropped to the point that he'll be nearing crisis, and this is why you're hearing the desperation in his voice. He alternates between pity play and threat. He remains wounded by the loss of Rose, and thereafter his repeated attempts to try and draw her back in are failing, and each time that he tries, he suffers additional wounding. This causes his already low fuel levels to plummet even further. There are occasional flashes of fury which you hear, as there is another drive by his narcissism to compel him to do something to overcome this problem. But it's futile, and it is a mere flash of fury before it then goes back to the breathless sobbing that you can hear. He feels weak because of these low fuel levels. He feels weak because he's being repeatedly wounding. He feels weakened because he doesn't have control over Rose or the children. He's spinning. His narcissism is frantically trying to get him to reassert control over Rose, but the only route available to it at this juncture is to do so directly. Moving to the indirect assertion of control or withdrawal isn't going to bring her back, and he needs an intimate partner primary source. His narcissism isn't focusing on trying to go and find a new one or even promote somebody that he might have been having an affair with. Instead, it focuses on trying to get him to get Rose to come back. This is the initial grand Hoover that you're witnessing, with repeated attempts through the telephone messages, the only avenue that he's got to try and get her back. Sobbing and crying, he cries, "You bring my babies back. You bring them back. You can't do this to me," i.e., I'm the victim and you're not allowed to treat me this way. "You bring my little girls back, Rose. You bring them back, all right? You come back." He sounds breathless again. "I didn't do anything." Again, completely blind to the fact that it's all his fault, and blame shifting once again. "I don't know who the fuck you're talking to." Paranoia, false accusation. "You bring my little girls back. You bring them back or I'll come find you." Threat, bring them back. Again, breathlessness as he's in a spin. "You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. This amount?" He then shouts, "You didn't even let me say goodbye to my kids. What is this?" There is this rise of fury as his narcissism suddenly kicks in, using up precious fuel reserves in order to try and compel him to do something. But his narcissism, in effect, is misfiring. Nobody's listening at the time this is taking place. It's not getting the control that he's so frantic to obtain, and this fuel is dropping all the lower. "You bring them back. Those are my little girls. You bring them back." He then cries, a strangulated cry for himself. Pity play. "You can't just take them from me. You bring my little girls back. You hear me? You bring them back. I didn't do anything." Again, protestation of innocence because he can't see that he's at fault. "I need to see my baby girls. I want to see my girls. Rose, you can't do this to me." Pity play, triangulation with children. "I didn't do anything with anybody." Projection of the fact that he clearly has done something with somebody, and his narcissism is denying this. "You bring me my little girls. You hear me?" Issuing of demand, sense of entitlement. "I'll come find you." Issuance of threat. A real contrast with what you've heard before, and demonstrating a narcissist that's now really struggling, alternating between flashes of fury and strangulated pity plays. A complete wet wipe in action.
"Rose, you called me back. You tell me, you just come back, all right? You just bring my baby girls back to me. To my baby girls, okay? You know, you can't just do this. You can't just abandon me like this. Oh, you can't just take my baby girls. I didn't do myself now because of this, because, you know, I can't live with you and without them, and you didn't let me say goodbye. Why? I knew I should check the boxes. You called me back. What about Daisy, you know? What about us? What about us? You can't just leave me here with these people. You can't just leave me here without my kids. You know, I'm worried about them. I think about them. You know, they're my babies. You know, I think about them. You know, and you took them with her. You could have just kicked me out. You could have just did the roommate with her. I don't know how much longer I can hold on. I just want to go. Now that
with this fourth voicemail, Hoover, part of the initial Grant Hoover, we are witnessing more pity plays and more of the mid-ranger appearing as opposed to the lesser aspect of Mike's classification. More time has elapsed, but as I've mentioned, these voicemail messages are taking place over a short period of days. He has not succeeded in getting her back. He does not have an intimate partner primary source. He would have shifted to other fuel sources, see understanding changes to the narcissist fuel matrix, but they are in no way going to provide him with the potency or amount of fuel that he would ordinarily receive from Rose. Furthermore, he doesn't have control of her, and each attempt to get her back which fails wounds him further. The wounding where he contacts her by telephone is not as substantial as the fact that she's walked away from him, nowhere near, but it wounds him nevertheless. The desperation is clear in what he has to say, and this is as a consequence of the fact that fuel levels are running particularly low. He feels the presence of the chasm, the void. The creature will make its presence felt, taunting him for the loss of his girls. He will feel that emptiness. He will feel like his world is caving in on him. But he doesn't understand why. He doesn't understand that he needs fuel. He doesn't understand what is making him feel so weak. He feels abjectly sorry for himself. He, good old Mike, who's only ever wanted to protect his children, who is being run around by this awful harpy of his girlfriend. A woman who thought more of her work than she did of him. Poor, poor Mike. He commences, Rose, you call me back. You tell me, you just call me back, all right? You just bring my baby girls back to me. He's sobbing and breathless. It's sickeningly pathetic. You can't just bring my baby girls, okay? He continues to cry, doling out a pity play, really showing the mealy-mouthed mid-ranger that he is. You know, you can't just do this. You can't just abandon me. Pity play, victimhood. You can't just abandon me like this. Oh, you can't just take my baby girls. Repeated triangulation and pity play. I didn't do anything, protestation of innocence. She just, I'm going to come looking for you, you know, threat, but it barely carries any weight. It's like a wounded soldier lying on the ground suggesting that he's going to come after you. It's ineffectual, and it's simply words. Next, we have a development which is quite common with mid-range narcissists. I'm going to kill myself now because of this. Suicide threat. Most narcissists will not kill themselves. The narcissist won't let it happen, but it can occur in certain instances. Because you know, I can't live with you, and then, without them, and more crying, pity play, you didn't even let me say goodbye. Why? Why? I knew I should have checked the boxes. You call me back. What about Daisy, you know? I think that's actually Mike's sister. What about us? What about you can't just leave me here with these people. Notice the pitiful wailing of the lower mid-range narcissist as he says, you can't do this to me. He almost can't compute that someone could be so cruel to him. After all, he's good old Mike, the solid guy that loves his kids. You can't just leave me here without my kids, triangulation. You know I'm worried about them, false concern. You know I think about them. They're my babies. You know I think about them, and you took them with her. Blame shifting, triangulation. He starts whining, you could have just kicked me out. You could have just did the roommate with her. I don't know how much longer I can hold on. It really, truly is pathetic, isn't it? I just want to go. Contrast this fourth message with the first one, where he was defiant. It hasn't taken long before Mike has slumped to this pitiful, pathetic, whinging wet wipe of an individual. Pleading, begging, doling out the pity plays, utterly weakened as a consequence of the substantial wounding that he has sustained and the inability to get a replacement intimate partner primary source and the inability to get Rose to come back. His narcissism is running out of options, and ultimately it will force him to look elsewhere and to stop calling, because his narcissism will eventually realize this is not working. The director's assertion of control over Rose isn't working, and thus the initial Grand Hoover will stop having failed. He will have to fall back on secondary sources instead, and tertiary sources, and then, most likely, would look to hook up with one of the numerous intimate partner secondary source affair partners that he has had. The fact that she has left him has caused massive wounding. The fact that his children are taken away from him has caused wounding, because all of this offends the status pillar that he has in his mind of being a decent guy, that you can't take my kids away from me because I'm a good father. He completely fails to recognize the fact that beating up their mother, of smashing up the house, of shouting and arguing in front of them does not make him a good father. He's completely blinded to all of this. Rose escaped him. Rose moved elsewhere, moved her job, had a new roommate, and was able to take her children away from Mike, thus no longer being abused by him. It's evident at this juncture that her no-contact regime wasn't perfect, but she had taken the biggest step, which was to escape him and put herself in a place physically where he couldn't find her. If you want to understand more about what you can do to escape a narcissist, you can read my book, Escape, No Contact, Exorcism. You can speak to me by way of consultation so that I can explain to you what's happening, why it's happening, and what you must do, providing you with the expertise that you need through the application of cold, hard logic. I've helped thousands escape. And if you do what I tell you to do, you will succeed. For those of you that may have found returning to this tale of Mike and Rose affecting your emotional thinking, then that is to be expected. But you must take steps to lower it by not embracing what has happened in relation to the narcissist that you were with. Utilize the final battle, how to stop thinking about the narcissist, and the mirror technique, how to crush emotional thinking, both of which you'll find in the Knowledge Vault. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching. Please ensure that these videos are shared far and wide so that more people can benefit from the expertise that is contained in these real-life examples.